Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our English News Edition. Thank you for joining us. After the entrance into force of the new law on firearms on March 25th, state police called the judges and prosecutors to hand their firearms over. It is learned that 70 judges and prosecutors have already handed their firearms over so far. Dura's prosecutors have all handed their firearms over under the new law on firearms. If a senior official, prosecutor or judge wants to carry a firearm, must undergo a series of procedures, including a training course for the use of a firearm. Police sources suggest that after the debate that opened the case of the deputy against Razimiri, who appeared with a firearm during a protest against the construction of the playground at the artificial lake, there is an added interest from all officials equipped with the firearm to hand it over immediately. The new law on firearm entered into force on March 25th, and the deadline for the senior officials, prosecutors and judges to hand their firearms over is April 10th. The chairman of Socialist Movement for Integration Parliamentary Group, Vasili, sent a letter to Prime Minister Edi Rama, the Ministers of Finance, Agriculture and Minister of Social Welfare. The Socialist Movement for Integration asks for the creation of Easiness for the farmers so that they can easily trade their products and not throw them away. The chairman of the SMI parliamentary group highlights that Albania does not provide payment in cash for selling and buying of agricultural products, hampering their trade. According to the SMI, most of the farmers do not have bank accounts and do not use banking services, so it urges the government to make a decision by a normative act and allow the Albanian farmers to pay in cash for buying and selling of products with a value up to 1 million lek. Another problem for the farmers, according to Vasili, is the closing of customs service at 8 p.m. Delays impair the quality of agricultural products and break contracts for not delivering the products to their destination in time. We propose that you apply the 24 hours customs service at least for agricultural products, argues the SMI in its letter. The third concern of the SMI is related to the payment of social insurances as a condition for applying for subsidiary schemes in agriculture. According to the SMI, this decision excludes the farmers from support schemes. In the recent 2 weeks, farmers of the area of Lushnja municipality are facing with the decay of the vegetables in their greenhouses, losing millions of lek. Albania will now have the possibility to have other airports except Tirana Airport. After a great deal of negotiations, the government has reached an agreement with a company that holds the concession for Mother Teresa Airport to allow other airports to operate in Albania. They agreed on removing the exclusivity from Tirana International Airport, extending the contract with 2 years. The Minister of Transport and Minister of Economy announced the agreement during a joint press conference with the Director of Airports. The Minister of Transport, Edmond Hajinasto, said that this agreement is very important for the Albanian civil aviation since it allows other airports to operate. We have been negotiating for the agreement for so long. This is an important day for the Albanian civil aviation as it opens a new chapter for the development of infrastructure. Our goals for the development of the civil aviation sector in Albania will be realized very soon. I want to emphasize that our major goal is to achieve a competitive service, which means lower price tickets, said Hajinasto. Tirana International Airport Director Rolf Castro Vasquez declared that the agreement was reached after long discussions. I hope that this agreement will have an effect on the development of tourism, because you have a very beautiful country. I want to thank the ministers for these discussions, which were finalized with an agreement regarding the discussions over the sale of the shares to a Chinese company. We are negotiating, but we have not decided anything yet, he said. The Minister of Economy, Milva Economy, was also present in this conference. She had this to say: "This is a very important day. We are creating more options for those who want to visit southern and northern of Albania. This agreement boosts tourism and economic development." The agreement comes after 2 years of discussions with the concession company, which had the exclusive rights for the airport until 2025. President of the Republic of Albania, Bojani Çani, returned the law on audiovisual media to the Assembly for review. Listing the reasons for the return of the law, the President states that the changes made by the majority to this law contradict the basic principles of the functioning of the rule of law. President emphasizes that the law conflicts with the Constitution and violates the independence of Albanian radio television. The President says that if the next elections for the election of the General Director of the Public Television will fail for 3 consequent rounds, with a qualified majority, the 4th and the 5th rounds will continue with a simple majority. This solution might allow the election of a person who enjoys only the consent of the majority, argues the President. The president highlights that the previous law was based on European standards. Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta gave an interview for a German newspaper commenting on the immigrants' crisis. Mr. Meta declared that Albania will not set up walls for the Syrian immigrants. The immigrants are now close to our borders. As a European country, Albania, in cooperation with the European Union and our neighbors, will take precautions to handle every situation. We are working with our partners to strengthen our capacities for the control of the borders, but we will not set up walls, declared the Assembly Speaker. Mr. Meta emphasized that Albania is taking extra measures to stop the terrorists from entering Albania. There is a real risk that they may enter Europe along with the immigrants. We are taking steps to strengthen the capacities for a thorough verification of persons who may enter our country. For this reason, it is necessary that we have a better exchange of information and cooperation of law enforcement agencies, declared Meta. The head of the Assembly underlines that Albania has a deep understanding of what the refugees are experiencing because of our experience after 1990 or during the Balkan crisis. That is the end of our edition for this evening. Thanks again for watching. Please join us again at 6 p.m. tomorrow for more news in English. Thanks and good night.